Did you know the world's greatest life insurance salesman used one analogy to sell millions in life insurance from his small Ohio office? He would just walk up to people he met on the street or in an elevator and he would say, if you had a money printing machine in your basement, would you insure it? And they'd say, of course. And then he would say, well, aren't you that money printing machine for your family? Bam. Just like that, he sold more life insurance by 1979 than all the big Manhattan-based life insurance companies. This is called an agreement analogy. And if you've ever wondered why some people, when they speak, others just hang on their every word, and yet some people lay awake at night in bed and say to themselves, why don't people listen to me? If I could teach you one strategy to becoming dangerously persuasive, and I only had 15 minutes to do it, it would be this. And so in this video, I'm gonna break down what an agreement analogy is, how you can use it to be more persuasive in your business, in your life, speaking, marketing, sales calls, wherever you need to get the other person to believe something so that they can take an action that you want them to take. So the first thing you have to understand is people don't believe what you say. They believe what they say. The lowest level of persuasion is convincing someone to believe something. The highest level of persuasion is getting them to think it was their idea. And this is because people always resist having their mind changed. They resist new ideas, and they certainly resist salespeople. If you're the slimy salesperson, nobody wants to listen to you. They want to listen to them. So make them say it. So the first thing you need to do is identify the buying belief. What is the buying belief? It is the belief they need to have to buy. So you just simply fill in the blank for this statement. If they believe blank, they will naturally buy. So P90X did a fantastic job of this. Their buying belief was, if you can confuse the muscle constantly, it will grow. And so when their audience believed that, well, they had no choice but to buy P90X, because P90X was a workout program completely designed to continuously confuse your muscles. So one time I did a seminar where I sold a $2,000 copywriting book, and I did $250,000 in sales in just 3 total hours. Now, the audience was not like professional copywriters or marketers, it was business owners who were trying to do their own marketing. And so I knew that the buying belief they needed to have to spend 2 G's on a friggin' copywriting book was, copy is the most important thing I need to learn to grow my business. That had to be the belief, because they knew marketing was important, but they don't realize that copy is the words that go into the marketing, and that's what actually makes the marketing work. So even though this book was worth $2,000 because it was a collection of secrets and tactics and methods used by one of the world's greatest copywriters, Dan Kennedy, and it was extracted from seminars that he had done that cost like $15,000, $20,000, I could sit there and I could make the case, listen, this book has all these secrets from this world-class copywriter and it's so valuable. But that's me trying to persuade. That's me trying to convince. I didn't do that. Instead, I figured out what the number one buying belief they needed to have was, and that is copy is the most important thing to grow your sales. So once you have the buying belief, here's the agreement analogy framework. And I'll show you the framework, then I'll show you an example of me using the framework. So you need to identify an existing belief that they already have, something that you know that they know is true, and then you need to illustrate that existing belief through an agreement analogy. So in the case of Ben Feldman, he knew his audience would agree with the fact that if they had something, some sort of device that produced tons of money for their family, they would definitely insure it. And so he came up with the analogy of, hey, if you have a money printing machine in your basement, you would insure it, right? So he knows that they would agree with that. He knows that that's an existing belief that they would have. Well, that existing belief simply has to align with the buying belief, which creates the aha moment. So he would say, if you had a money printing machine in your basement, would you insure it? They would say yes. And then he would say, well, aren't you that money printing machine for your family? Aha, I am. I am a money printing machine for my family. My goodness, if anything were to happen to me, what would they do? I better buy life insurance. And so you see, they've already come to the conclusion that they need to buy before he even asks them to buy. So when he does ask them to buy, it's just natural for them to say, yes, please, give me the life insurance. So here's how I did this for a $2,000 copywriting book, which if you think about it, is quite a lot of money for a book. But this very simplistic agreement analogy worked fantastically well. It's made me millions of dollars. I've used it in other speeches. I've used it in webinars. It's great. So here's how it works. I say, if you were walking down the street and you saw two lemonade stands, and the first lemonade stand said freshly squeezed lemonade, and the second lemonade stand said yellow water with sugar, which one would you buy? Now, every time I ask this, people always say, well, I would buy the freshly squeezed lemonade. And I say, but wait a minute, it's the same product. They got it from the same place. It's lemonade. Why do you choose the freshly squeezed lemonade over the yellow water with sugar? And every time they say, well, it sounded better. And so then I say, exactly. People don't buy good products. They buy products that sound good. And so you see, I've taken the existing belief that they have that, well, of course I'm gonna buy this, it sounds better, and I align that with what they need to believe to buy. Oh my gosh, if I can just make my product or service sound good, I'll make more money. And therefore, when I present them with a book on copywriting, even if it's $2,000, they're like, yeah, that's worth it. And this agreement analogy was the thing that people talked about the most at that event. And I sold $250,000 worth of that $2,000 book in a total of 3 hours. It was 1 hour a day for 3 days, and it was a free event, completely online. Now, here's the crazy part. I did not come up with this analogy. I know how agreement analogies work, but to sit down and to think of one takes a lot of brain power, and I'll be honest with you, it's quite exhausting. So in order to assist me, I ended up creating my own AI copywriting tool based on my frameworks, based on what I know works, and it created this lemonade analogy, which it's a little bittersweet because I like to come up with my own stuff, and considering this is one of my best agreement analogies that's made me the most money, and I didn't make it, AI did, it's a little hit to the ego, but I did program the tool, so I'll take it. Anyway, if you want to get access to that tool, I'll leave a link in the description where you can check it out. So create an analogy that your audience already agrees with, teach the aha moment that aligns that existing belief with the belief they need to buy, and you will become dangerously persuasive. If you do this 4 or 5 times within a conversation, a sales call, a presentation, a webinar, whatever, that is called layering. And the more you layer, the more belief you build in buying, the more dangerously persuasive you will become. When you learn how to do this, you become more than a business owner. You become an influencer. You become someone that can shift how people think in your industry. You become the most respected, sought after, and go-to name in your industry. Why? Because you are a thought leader, an influencer, not just someone that sells something. So if you want to sell stuff, this will make you extremely dangerous, but it will also make you extremely influential, and you will build a brand beyond your wildest dreams if you can master this. Please use it wisely.